Okay, guys, we are live! So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly shop steward today, because today we are carrying on with our ongoing campaign playing Paizo Publishing's outstanding Pathfinder 2nd Edition fantasy RPG, and we are playing it in our custom setting of the Spires of Paridar. Spires of Paridar is a Coalpunk setting of occult conspiracy, class disparity, and industrial progress. And with me today are the stars, the illuminators of the Spires of Paridar campaign. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing? First up, we've got Sean.
Hey, I'm Golag, son of Doc, and his shadow. I am an orc witch detective.
Very nice. And next up is James.
Right, I'm James, and I'm Anna.
You're Anna?
I'm Anna. Things on my mind. Sally Dumer, the debutante of Paridar.
Very nice. Anna says she's a big fan. Next up is Ingolf.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ingolf. I'm playing Basil Rathbone, who's an Isoki investigator, and very curious about what's going on in this town of Deckbar on the sea. So
nice. And last but certainly not least is Darren.
Yeah, down here I'm playing Dr. Adam Ersprung, who is a created flesh warp inventor, and his trusty sidekick Igor.
Nice. Now, our session is part 5 of a Quiet Village by the Sea mystery. Guys, let me bring us on over to Dag on the Sea. And what happened last time? What the heck is...
Let's see.
Not so much happened last time, if I remember rightly. It's quite a lot of role-playing. We set up a few various options. We had Igor looking over the Doctor, Golag Shadow looking over Golag, obviously, and the Clockwork Spy monitoring us throughout the night. And we found that our host tried to get into Golag and Basil's room during the night. Unfortunately, they disturbed them, so we didn't actually find out what they were trying to do. There was a bit of negotiations and a bit of interaction between Basil, Golag, and the proprietor to try and work it out, but we did find that they'd put some like little symbols next to our names, or the room names, or the numbers in their sort of guest book. So they've identified our room, and I think one other gentleman, Mr. Lynch, was it?
Yeah,
the gnome architect.
Yep. 2 others.
Yep.
Oh, 2 others.
Yeah.
Did we identify the other one? Don't think we've identified the other one yet.
I don't think so.
Oh, it is. No. So we did actually, sort of as a group, eventually discuss with this Mr. Lynch, accompanying him. He was going to the spa, and whilst we was walking to the spa, we sort of announced that there was all sorts of horrible things going on in the town. Scared him half to death, I think. He was very keen to get out. It took quite a lot of discussion and negotiation to get him to leave without sort of giving it away. And yeah, that was quite a lengthy process, but we've agreed to give him a quote for doing some work back in Paridar, and he finally went off, so hopefully he's going to be safe, because we were worried about his safety. Again, throughout the morning we've had people that seem to be listening in. Everyone's still super friendly, and I think we sort of left it on our way to, or I don't know if we decided to go to the spa or continue to the sunken sort of fort, but Mr. Lynch had gone off and we were sort of going to continue on our way to investigate further.
Do you guys recall anything else? Not to say that there is, just...
I want to say there was 2 symbols in the hotel book. Like there were 2 different symbols, right? And
I think there's some for the fishermen, wasn't there?
yeah, there's the fishish type symbol, and another one. And I want to say that one of the symbols there was just 2 of us, and the other symbol there was 3 of us. Is that wrong? Or yeah. In other words, one symbol there was just 2 different ones, which is what Darren was alluding to, and the other symbol there was more than that. There was more than that were which is that's what I remember, but I could be wrong. But there was something about there were 2 symbols in the book, 2 kinds of symbols. One was a fish, one was not. The other one was nondescript, that we weren't able to put a analogy to, and so. I was thinking that the architect and I were unique. Architect and us were unique in the one symbol, which I think was the fish. Could be wrong, but the other symbol there were more of us. I guess 3, and that may be wrong, but I'm just throwing that out there as what I recall.
There's part of that I didn't quite follow. What there
if
was.
you understood me, I must have misspoke.
The fish markings seem to be for the vast majority of the people that were in there, yes?
Yes.
Okay. There were also markings on Golag's room that he was sharing with Basil. I guess technically it's Basil's room that he allowed Golag to stay in as well, but, splitting hairs. That same mark was also on 2 others unrelated to you guys. And that was in addition to a separate mark different from the fish. Yes. And then that separate mark was also on Sally's room and Dr. Earthsprung's room. Is that what you were saying?
More or less.
I think less a little bit because I didn't quite understand.
Yeah. That was what he meant, but he was not.
Yeah.
I was speaking as Golag. That's what was happening there.
That's terrific. Okay, so yes, that was there was a not arcane, but there was a some kind of cryptographic marking system on there, which has yet to be determined. And I think we left you guys with a terrified gnome architect scampering back to town to try and go running through it, and then on his way towards Barrington. But that leaves you guys standing near the junction where one will lead you to the spa itself, the Scopia Holiday Lodge, and the other would lead in the direction that you have heard where that sunken keep is located. So, is there anything else that we missed?
Not really missed, but there was something that we should have done more carefully and we didn't do. So there was this kind of stone that Basil stole from the church. And I think Sally looked at it but couldn't quite place it. But that's basically our whole investigation on that seemingly important artifact. Maybe it's just a random wishing stone for the local priest and has nothing to do with the whole campaign, but maybe it is also important.
It could be an unhatched egg of an elder god.
Yes.
Where was it in the church? Remind me, what was the circumstance? Was it in the priest's room? Where was
it?
The hatchery. Yes. I mean, no, it's definitely not a hatchery.
It's in the back office in the church,
Yeah. So it was something that might have been something that these sea devils may have been looking for. That was at least the impression that Basil had, but that might be a blind guess.
That is actually a good point. That's something you guys discussed last time, was re-examining what the role of the sea devils were in relation to this. So I think the initial impression was that they were related to whatever else was going on, but when you considered it last time, you guys had a different assumption.
Yeah.
Or different understanding, I should say, of it.
Yeah. There was the idea that we might even be unlikely allies against maybe an even darker power at play here, but who knows?
Did the stone have anything on it? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. Did the stone have a carving or anything? It didn't have anything remarkable on it, did it? I was just refreshing my memory.
It was an amulet, and I thought it was...
Oh, amulet. I'm always say stone. Yeah, it was an amulet, yeah.
Yeah, because it had a little hole in it, as if you would put a rope of some kind or whatnot through it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember, was it... what do you recall about the markings on the amulet?
I couldn't place it. Wasn't it something like that?
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of. I can't remember if I gave a description of it or not. I know I gave a description of the material of the stone, but
yes.
Yeah, I've just got it down as volcanic glass.
Right.
It was described as.
Yeah.
But that's all I've got.
So then you can assume that it is a. It appears as if it is a series of tentacles, kind of twirling in on themselves, almost like a, what is it, like golden ratio kind of style, where it moves up into one direction, and then, yeah. But it is quite crude.
So it's the leaves of a sunflower. No. Yeah. I think that mathematical connection would be something that Basil notes, but I think that is more your area of expertise, Sally, or maybe yours, Golak, and not mine.
Can I examine it for purposes of some kind of occultish connection?
You can.
Would that be useful?
The trouble is that well, I mean, why don't you give us a roll? We'll see how you do.
I just want to roll. I'm just fishing for a roll. That's all I'm doing.
Although I don't want to shock you guys. I mean, we're getting off to a very bad start because we're not rolling a perception check as the first thing in this session. So
yeah.
Right, fill your boots. Go ahead and give us an occultism roll, please. Okay, that is for your level. Not great.
Boy, GM just going after me on that roll.
Well, yeah, it's one thing that is, because you guys are 6th level right now, we were already getting into that range where, like, it's tough to tell what's good, tough to tell what's bad. You know,
for your level, young man, that's
exactly it. Yeah. It's every overly involved teacher from junior high school. You know, that's your occultism. Like that's not bad.
You're better than that.
Edward back there, that would be good for Edward, but you are not Edward.
Right.
You are capable of a much better occultism roll than that.
Disappointing.
As an FYI, that is 5 below what would be the average check for your level. Does that affect your decision whether or not to spend a hero point?
Oh, sure.
Nice. Fast and loose with him right out of the gate. I love it.
Yeah.
As we know, I've been pretty successful at making people spend most of their narrative meta currency all weekend. So if I can get a flawless end this session with none on the table, it's going to be a good day.
It has to say that Necrons do tend to drive that effect.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh man, yep. Necrons and murderous cultists and furious. Oh, we didn't. You know what? That's not true. I'm totally lying because I don't think John touched a single fortune point in Warhammer. Yeah, he didn't. He had nothing to roll. So
that's a big group, though. Hard to get everyone to spend.
And I mean, his responsibility was making sure an old drunk got his booze. So like, there was not a lot of like real. Ooh, will it or will it not happen?
Yeah.
So then, so that is, yeah. Again, that's not bad for Edward, but some poor viewer's like, "Hey, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
Friendly fire. Sorry, Edward.
Hey, right.
So just maybe a stupid question. So Basil is still fatigued because of the kerfuffle in the night?
Yes, the shit sleep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Goldeye, I mean, you take a look at this, and you know what is like blindingly obvious on the face of it, that it seems to be an amulet. It seems to be, made of some kind of igneous rock of some kind, but apart from like seeing what the designs are, you've got no frame of reference for what this may relate to, what secrets this may speak to. No further insight into it, unfortunately.
All right.
At least without invoking any kind of magic. Because the last time you tried to discern things with magic, that worked out really well. Wasn't that the flower? When you tried to connect to the pedal?
We don't talk about a flower incident.
I think, guys, you got this. I will just lay down here and close my eyes for a minute and think about the case.
Okay.
It's interesting. I don't have it prepared, but we can keep in mind an object reading. We can to cast that spell on this. That's a possibility tomorrow.
Okay. Because I was getting Viking sayings together for the next round of voting in the charity session. One of the Viking sayings is not sleeping by a highway, effectively. Now, the lesson to be learned there, what the website that I found it on said, it's like, oh, it's supposed to be saying that you're prepared to, for when you're traveling. I'm like, well, no, the fucking saying says don't sleep by a highway because ghosts will get you. So, like, I think you're taking some liberal interpretation of this adage. Still sound advice, but yeah. So, what are you guys thinking then? There is no further insight that you're able to gain, at least at this point, with respect to this. You are on your own. Your gnomish friend is. Seems like he's going to do what you've told him to do, but who among you think that seeing the gnome race through the village and out the other side may draw some very friendly attention?
Well, the people are all very nice.
Indeed. Should we go to this?
It will definitely be noticed because they're such busybodies and they're watching it, everybody, and they so it'd be noticed, definitely.
Yeah. Not to mention, he's not going to show up, right? He's not going to show up at the spa. And if there is even if the spa is not, let's say, is not part of this vortex of whatever's going on in this village, that will be noticed as from a busybody standpoint. But if it is, then of course, a no-show of their next victim, or whatever he was going to be, would be quite noticed. Where should we go? Either the spa or the keep? Is there a third?
We were trying to convince Sally to have a little daytime swim, weren't we? But I can't remember how that went in the end.
Yeah. Let's go to the shore, and I will gladly look out for danger on the coast.
Yeah.
Sally looks at the three of you dimly.
I mean, the keep is a hot. It's hot. It's probably hotter than the spa, I would say.
And the locals seem to be trying to, I wouldn't say keep us away from it, but they're very, very much, there's nothing there. Don't bother with that. That's a waste of time.
Yeah.
So they're sort of trying to put us off indirectly, I think.
And they are, on that note, I would say there's a possibility that they're trying to get us to the spa. It's been advertised at least once, maybe twice to Golag, to me. And so, but yeah, I think, I would say the keep is a little bit more, at least to have an observation of it, some kind of, even if we don't go in.
We're like cats, aren't we? You would tell you that that's the place you mustn't go, and immediately we've got to go there. Scratching at the door.
Cats and investigators were pesky.
Yeah. I think.
And I'm sorry to mention cats, Basil. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no. I have no problem.
He's suddenly
with cats.
wide awake. What? Where?
Yeah.
Yeah, the average cat is, very small compared to me. But I think if we are looking for maybe the source of this amulet, the keep might be the better chance.
Okay.
And we could get some valuable information there. I don't think we can get so much out of the spa because people won't talk to us.
Yeah.
Maybe the spa
Yes.
is something to visit at night when people are not too prepared.
Yeah, or just for fun and leisure. That could also be.
You have a wonderful program of vigorous calisthenics that you could partake in. They have ice boxes. They have a medicinal herbs tea.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I listened several months ago. I listened to a podcast about the Kellogg school, like the spa built by. It may have actually inadvertently influenced the spa here too, but it was talking about like Victorian era or 19th century spa things, and some of the treatments questionable value. So I take it you are taking the left. You are heading straight forward towards the ruins and bypassing the cursed spa. I mean, just the totally normal spa, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Indeed.
So you head on in the direction of the the ruins. Are there any precautions that you wish to take, or are you just going to stroll down the road, without any effort to conceal yourself and arrive at the location?
It's daytime, right? It's morning, probably? It's morning?
It is morning, correct.
Yeah.
So the last vestiges of the fog have all burned off in the day.
Yeah, I think we can go there, right? Quite publicly. I mean, first of all, I think that we are already watched. So just looking around, I think there should be someone watching us.
Ooh. You've just given me my first excuse to roll my Brancolonia oversized dice. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your perception bonus, Basil?
12.
Okay. So you've taken a look around. As far as you can tell, no, you're not being observed. You're not being followed.
That means there's someone following us who is better than me. That's really, really disheartening.
It's a healthy level of paranoia in this campaign. So then, go ahead.
It doesn't seem worth it to. If we were going to try to do this surreptitiously, I think probably a nighttime visit would be better. But the night would make it harder, perhaps, probably, to observe the keep. So
it may be even harder to locate because of the thickness of the fog. If you're not familiar with the area and you haven't been there before, that could pose a challenge when you can't see more than 5 feet in front of you or 6 feet in front of you.
So I think I think we even might have touched on this trade-off in a discussion last session or so. So I think we just go in the day, like I think we determined last time, and act like act poorly, like we're frolicking in the surf or in the shallow ankle deep
sort of plaza. Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds
Vacationers,
good.
Come on now.
Everyone's in their full body swimsuit.
With stripes.
With stripes. Absolutely, of course. Carrying their really heavy wooden beach chairs. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So then, let's see here. Golag, what is your perception score?
Let's see here. 10.
Okay. I will tell you guys, I'm going to set aside the Brancolonia dice for now because I just rolled 3 nat 20s with it. And if there's going to be any combat today, we don't want that We'll save that for Night Below. Yeah. So, as you guys are, it takes you maybe about 15 minutes to make your way down here. It is a gravel-filled lane. There is, it has that kind of fairly wild, overgrown grasses and whatnot on the side, but there is, sweeping fields. There are trees that have been here probably for, if not a century, then, generations at the least. It has that look of, like, where there is, things are maintained and clearly lived in, but also it's a rural place, so a lot of things have kind of grown to grow in. And unsurprisingly, perhaps, there are no blossoms here. And as you guys are making your way down, Golag, Sally, and Dr. Earthsprung, you all notice that as you're approaching where you see some of what probably were were once the battlements of this keep, now crumbled down to ruin on the shore. There appears to be two people who are walking among there. They look like laborers or farmers, the way they're dressed, and the two of them seem to be they're just seem to be walking along on the thing. One has a bag that looks like it would be a probably what they're doing is pushing a wheelbarrow with a bunch of tools in it. You all notice this well before they notice you. And you can also see, I have an illustration here, or a photograph, I should say, which I may need to go back a scooch to find. I thought I had made a page of this, but I apparently did not. Kev, from several months ago, you have let me down. Okay, let's see. Probably shouldn't use picture of the Berlin Wall on that, but let's see.
Almost the same, maybe.
Yeah. As less. Go ahead.
As we see them before they see us, are they chatting at all with each other?
Yeah, they seem to be chatting with the way that like longtime workers or longtime co-workers may do. You can,
if possible, I will try to read their lips if they're close enough.
Oh, yeah. I'll adjust the. I mean, I'm picturing them facing away so that because they're not seeing you.
Yeah, gotcha.
But I mean, if you guys took steps to sneak in, I think you certainly could get yourself in a position where you would have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
I appreciate the long game of trying to justify that feat.
Yeah. Well, I noticed I already forgot one, so I have one for occult symbols, and I forgot to invoke it. So.
Okay.
Next time.
All right. So I think I'm too far back here. Hold on. Yeah, I'm way too far back. Shit. All right. Well, he didn't load it, but let's see if Kev remembered to label the image properly.
And I see to the party, Golag mentions, there's a possibility I can use a bit of magic on this amulet, perhaps tonight, or when we're back in the room. Something out of character I've never used. That maybe it would apply. Spend some time with it.
You have unknown talents, Mr. Golak?
Well, I do try to keep a few things up my sleeve.
Okay. So I think I'm almost there. We have run a lot of games in the last couple of months. My goodness.
Yeah, I was noticing myself that I this is my third with you this weekend, Kevin. I don't think I've hit 3 very often lately. So at one time, maybe it's
Yeah. Yeah, that's a whole lot of Kev for a one weekend.
There was a lot of Warhammer for one thing. It was a back-to-back Warhammer, and then get a little Paridar.
Yeah, we definitely had our Friday night, Saturday morning combo is very Warhammer heavy. I always need to figure out how to fit Soulbound into the mix and
right
with the quasi trifecta.
If not Imperium Maledictum at some point.
Boy, I'm looking forward to that showing up. That is going to be a good game. And I've got the heck's the other 40k one called? Wrath and Glory.
Oh, Wrath and Glory.
Yeah, I would be interested in seeing. From what I remember from reading before, it had an interesting, some interesting ideas in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never. I played it once. One shot.
How'd you like it?
Years back. It was fine. You know, I mean, I needed. It was a good start. It was just a 3-hour one shot, public one shot. But yeah, good little taste. Wouldn't mind giving another.
Okay. Sorry, I thought that I'm trying to locate this by when I loaded the last image for whatchamacallit, for the welcome to Dag on the Sea thing, but I can't even find that right now. So I guess we're going to have to do Theater of the Mind. Unless it's in here. And for those listening at home, my apologies for the fussing. Did we do the war story after you guys reached Dag on the Sea? After we started that?
I wouldn't say it was before that. What does everyone else remember?
Yeah, I thought it was before.
It was before that, okay.
Yeah, war story was in April.
Yeah, because it was Adam's story arc, and we didn't want to finish it without Adam.
Right. So that definitely was afterwards. Okay, so then, there's the Spires of Paridar revised logo. So we're getting closer here. Let's see.
The first session of Dag on the Sea was 11th of June, if that helps.
For what I'm trying to do right now, it does not. Only because you can't locate by. It's all in chronological order, but it doesn't have the actual dates on it. So I'm trying to. Oh! Found it.
That was 5 O's.
Yeah. I found what I was looking for, but unfortunately, I did not find the actual image I was looking for. I apparently did not load it. And this is what I should have done before. I can just load it right now. What you can see is just off the coast in the water, there is a sunken keep. Like the top of the keep is poking out of the water. Bear with me a moment here. What is the plan for approaching this, guys? These folks, honestly, if you were to guess, they would you would mark these 2 individuals walking around as groundskeeper.
Okay. And did I get any sense of what they were talking about, or did I have an angle?
Oh, you need to give us if you're going to sneak over there, you're going to need to give us a stealth check to get into an angle to see their... Because if you're going to see their faces, they potentially can see yours.
Yeah.
You going ahead, Golak, by yourself?
Sure. I will scamper ahead. Not too much scampering by Golak, but I'll make an exception since he's investigating.
You know he means business as he kind of like hikes up his trousers and then hunches down.
Yeah.
Very busy. Okay.
Starting to imagine
I'm sticking with
Boris Johnson.
Locked up.
I'm sticking with my rolling range. I'm sticking with it, damn it.
Okay. Let's see here. Well, we are past 12 o'clock my time, so everyone gets a hero point. Would you care to spend that?
You know, I'm going to hang on to it. It's fine. It's is what it is.
You know, and I really hate to admit I'm not 100% sure this photograph was worth the wait. So we'll see.
Expectations are very high. They're very high.
Expecting something really impressive.
Yeah, I think it speaks more to my inability to give up a search when I'm partway through, than it is the quality of this. And then we're gonna take a page out of our traveler, and I'm gonna set you guys up around this thing, as opposed to in it.
I've started, so I'll finish.
Exactly. I have a real hard time with that. Like, I need to find this thing. It helps in the day job sometimes, but it also can be kind of frustrating to be around. Here we go. So this is what you see, guys.
Oh.
Okay, well, there you go. That's paid off. That sound. All I need. So, yeah, what you can see is most of it seems to be written down. It is in a cove, so there is bits of the... either it is somehow like the sea has eroded away part of it, or perhaps, as suggested by those markings you found on the church, this collapsed down into the sea, leaving tendrils out to almost embrace or to guard against the sea getting in. Across the way, you'd guess that it's probably like 200, 300 feet across for the cove. And from the darkness of the water, it does seem to get quite deep quite quickly. Not like hundreds of feet deep, but like this may be the top of a fairly large battlement that you were saying. There may be a substantial portion of this structure that is underwater. And they seem to be walking between the like rocky beach amongst the ruins. If you have seen pictures, only because there are fairly a lot of photos of it, and I've actually been there. You see the Glastonbury chapel, or the church that's there. There are just sort of like standing ruins. It's a stand-in that's used in a ton of TV shows for like any kind of ruins that have big walls in it. And that's kind of what you're seeing here. There's bits where there's no evidence of a wall ever having standed there, but there is one or two stubborn remnants of this thing that are still there. Partially collapsed, arched entrance. Here, there's a bit of a, stone wall there on the coast, and then down in.
Couldn't we just distract the workers there and just get Sally somewhere so she could enter the water and could investigate the ruins underwater? And Golak, you can try to read the lips, but after a certain time, I think, if Adam and I approach them, then we will be distraction enough just by ourselves.
That was good. So phase one is my crouching.
Yes.
Hopefully not too much crouching, but
you want to spend that hero point to re-roll the stealth, or?
No, I'm just gonna. Well, if we have to quickly move into phase two, it's fine.
Yeah, I think we have seen him also crouch, and in typical Golak fashion, it is not that stealthy, maybe. So.
I'm not sure I'm that bad at it, but
his confidence definitely outweighs his capacity in this case. But it is not that bad. It turns out actually that this was sufficient to the task. So you're able to get yourself in a position. Your lip reading, let's see here. What do you need to roll? Do this, when you're at leisure, you can do this automatically. In encounter mode, or when you're attempting a more difficult feat at lip reading, you are fascinated and flat-footed during each round, and you must succeed at a society check. DC determined by the GM. Oh, I hate that guy. Yeah. So why don't you give us a society check then, please?
Right.
Better. Incredible. There you go. As you are looking, you're still going to get just an A, not an A+ for that roll, though. Because
is this Edward again? That guy.
What you can tell, they seem to be just it's idle chatter. They're just talking about the work that's done. But there is something curious. One of them seems to reference something. At first, you think, wait, they reference a hatch. At first, you think like, surely they're talking about a match, and then you see one of them makes reference to the other about hatching occurring soon.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. Oh, I can't hear that.
I mean, they could be poultry farmers for all we know. I mean, just
you would definitely smell it.
All right. I mean, I think I'm apart from everybody, so I will mention it when I can. But for the moment, I am going to per our plan, I am going to do some waving now. I'll go, say, hello.
Okay. They both look up, and they. Let's see here. Why don't you give us? I think. Well, when they see you, one of them who's pushing the wheelbarrow is going to start trying to get up, and the other one's like, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here!" And he's running up the hill towards you, away from his colleague who's pushing his wheelbarrow up, trying to keep up. But it's clearly full of some heavier stuff, so it's slowing him down. Seems as if Golag has well and truly escaped things. What's great is that he's not sharing the hatching stuff before Sally goes in the water, so that's excellent foreshadowing.
I mean, I'd have to yell it, so that's I have to yell it, so
nothing to be done. So, Basil, Dr. Ursprung, and Sally, you can see that it appears that Golag is serving as a distraction for these fellows.
Yeah.
What would you three like to do?
Once again, he spoiled the plan. I think there's only a sigh left to be done. Sally, if you wouldn't mind.
Disappear into the sinister pool alone? Why not, dear Basil? I give you my parasol and my black satin cloak, and then I disappear off in my black bathing gear into the water.
Would you kindly give us a stealth roll? I'm just going to see if this is going to be a relatively easy task here, so no modifier, so yeah. You are down like the shadow of a cloud passing overhead, and you are down into the water without making any noise whatsoever. You have double blink once or twice just to adjust to the particulates and whatnot that are drifting in here. It's not as clear as the open water, and there's a shit ton of vegetation that is growing down here. So this is going to be a bit of a picture, if you will, a Gothic-style castle overbuilt with turrets and crenellations and, other buildings or small buildings added onto it. Complex architecture where towers will, buttress out of larger structures. all of that underwater and with thick, clinging vegetation growing all across it, leaving little drifting bits of particulates in the water. That is what you will be navigating down here.
Okay.
You are able to navigate in 3 dimensions, though. How do you intend on traveling through here?
I'll just swim, but not try and get an overview of it. So keep as close to the bottom as to see it, but not to get in the middle of it.
So you're just doing like as it were, a flyover of the area?
And I will do a flyover and then try and work my way around the keep.
Okay. So you're looking around in here. Forgive me, what is your perception bonus again?
10.
10, okay. So you were looking around in here, and one of the advantages of your particular physiology is that you're able to really position yourself in a specific place underwater quite easily. You're used to being able to try and stop and then turn around in a 3-dimensional space. You're not the way that we may struggle with trying to, like, you know, turn our heads in a certain direction or whatnot. And you've got the benefit of some really phenomenal dark vision. And it's in one of these things where you are peeking through one of the, like, slits underwater. Curiously, you can hear nothing underwater as well. While it has that deadening effect as soon as you get underwater, there is also the ability for water to carry sound in a much more effective way, or at least in a curious way. You cannot hear anything down here, but you get to one point where, looking through one of those sunken towers, which remain remarkably intact, it's almost as if you took an entire existing structure and then slowly sloughed it down into the water, allowing it to be embraced. You can also, I guess, before I tell you what you do spot, as you're looking around, what you can see is that same marking that you saw on the amulet and some of the depictions that you saw, or at least some of the iconography you saw on the church. Not the barnacle-filled ones or the new ones or the new stained glass, but the markings in the church themselves are replicated at different points on, like, the high point of a lintel or other, you know, kind of prominent places where heraldry or the similar thing would be marked. It all speaks of the sea. Whatever peoples built this place, they certainly felt they had a kinship to the sea in some way. Perhaps unsurprising for a coastal castle. But what you see, looking down in here, is a small cluster of eggs. And these, you need not make any roll for, are, you would guess, identical to what the Mr. What's his name from the insurance company brought you. There's easily 100 in this one cluster. And allow me to pause for a... You can hear... I mean, maybe it's a combination of hearing and seeing something moving beneath you. And you can see that perhaps your presence has done something, because there is some seaweed or similar sort of underground vegetation that seems to be moving against the current ever so slowly in your direction. You are well out of reach of it. At least you think you are. But it is definitely moving.
I will move away from it.
You easily do, and once you reach a certain point, you can see it drifts back down as if a natural part of the vegetation.
Could I see anything of it?
Anything?
Of what? Could I see any details of what was creeping up?
Oh, it just a strand of thick, like seaweed or perhaps a
okay.
root. Oh, you know what? Give us a nature check. Ooh. You want a hero point that? It's 12:30. You guys will all get another hero point
why
anyway.
not?
Okay. No, so you're not, that's something that you're just not aware of whatsoever. Yeah, City Gal, precisely. Perhaps you knew more at another time, but like other elements of it, perhaps you're now realizing you've forgotten more of your old life than what you had previously realized. So what do you do? Perhaps we'll let you ponder that for a moment, and we'll check in on Golag as these groundskeepers come up. So they are quite insistent that you should not be here, Golag. You're not supposed to be here. What are you doing out here? It's not safe out here.
And just for my, is Basil and Dr. Ursprung, how far away are they? Just for my...
I'm picturing that they're probably on the kind of on the far side of this, so they're probably about 120 feet away.
Okay.
Were Basil and Dr. Ursprung hiding?
No.
No, just standing in the road? Okay. So
because the plan was for them to join, I think, right? Eventually, whenever, that you were coming this way, which I would is that correct?
I'm not sure whether this was the plan originally, but maybe that is the plan now. Yeah.
Fair enough. So
I love the idea that you guys are crouched down. You're getting ready. Sally's going to go down. Golag's in hiding, and then you guys hear from the far side of the ruins. I say, fellows.
So Golag says, so Golag's going to play he's going to go for the dumb tourist. And he goes, oh, really? What, where am I exactly? What is this place what is this place?
It's unsafe. That's all you need to know, sir. Where have you wandered on from?
Well, I'm taking in the sights of Dag on the Sea. It's wonderful.
What's that back there? Is that back in that direction, sir? It's nothing to see here. Nothing safe, at least.
Oh,
and you can see the guy who's been pushing the wheelbarrow begins to catch up right now. He's like, "You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here."
And Golag's turning slowly, like looking around, and he says, What is it that's I mean, we were told, we were recommended to take a look at the beautiful shore. What is it that I should be looking out for?
Plenty of shore you can find, sir, not around these ruins. It ain't safe here. He's right, it ain't safe here.
Mm-hmm. And I look surprised. I try to look surprised.
Sure.
As I ruins, you say? Oh, I see.
We can hear him talking, I suppose.
Give us a deception check. Oh, you definitely can hear him talking now. Yeah.
Yeah. I would then I would shout, "Golag, Golag!"
Okay, they're swallowing it completely. These city people. So Basil and he goes racing over. Adam, you'll have no difficulty catching up to him as well. And they say the guy who is talking to you says, "Oh, cool, more of them." And the guy with the wheelbarrow, he turns and kind of wheels off in your direction. He says, "It's not safe here. It's not safe here."
They say it's there's dangerous ruins. I say with great
Can't
alacrity.
you see him right here? It's dangerous here, sir.
And I point for Basil and Dr. Ursprung. He says, ruins.
Ruins. So you mean there's like a stone golem going to chase us or something like that?
Well, is he? It's not safe here. You two. He kind of stops when he sees Dr. Ursprung and, did you get up before, sir?
This is an interesting place. We should explore it.
No, sir, it's not safe here. And he puts the legs of the wheelbarrow down as if to emphasize his point. And you can hear the clattering of the tools from within there. And the guy looks back at his the first groundskeeper as if to try and like, what are they not understanding here? And the guy looks back and says, "Sir, you can't be here. It's not safe here. You must go back. Plenty of shore. You can go that way to the shore. You can go that way to the shore. You can't be in here. It's not safe."
But you are here, so it must be safe, or?
We's the groundskeepers. That's why we're here. We're trying to keep it from crumbling down, but it ain't safe for you to be here.
Oh, so you mean there is a danger that the cliff might fall into the sea?
He kind of looks at you and... It's not safe to be here.
Ah, I see. It's not safe to be here.
The other guy looks at you and says, "What's wrong with your friends? It's not safe to be here."
Basil, do you hear that? They seem to be groundskeepers. You used to do some of that in your old days, didn't you?
Yes, but more under the ground. So keeping the ground...
What is wrong with you people? It's not safe to be here. And the other guy with the wheelbarrow picks it up and puts it down once again. It's not safe to be here.
I reach into my coat pocket and I say, listen, and I look behind them kind of dramatically. And I say, "We're not trying to get you in trouble, my good man. We're just enjoying the sights. We'll certainly move on." And I, like, in a kind of a tipping motion, I will say, "Sorry for the troubles."
Well, like you're giving them money?
Like a tip. I'm trying to say, we take care of all gratuity, and we don't want to, we didn't try to cause you any troubles, my good man.
Oh, he takes the money and he looks over at the guy with the wheelbarrow, and the guy with the wheelbarrow, he looks at you, Basil, and Dr. Earthsprong, you, to see whether you're going to be leaving as well.
Leaving? Oh, yeah, yeah. So where do you want to go with this wheelbarrow? I think we could help.
You're not helping. Go. You're not supposed to be here. And the other guy shouts at you, "It's not safe."
I think we would just really slowly turn and then move a little bit further down the road.
So as you guys do, the wheelbarrow guy will be following along behind you. The other guy will be holding on to the money. He's not quite sure whether you should take it or not, but he hasn't given it back yet. But you will well and truly be able to stall these guys long enough for Sally to do whatever she's doing, unless something goes awry, and not have her discovered. So turning back to Sally. So having seen that thing move and having seen that cluster of eggs, what does Sally do next?
I will just drift in towards the eggs again, keeping an eye on where that kelp was.
Yeah. Why don't you give us a perception check? I have been now using the Brancolonia dice for your guys' secret rolls, so... Okay. Are you satisfied with that? Did you get... Dr. Earthsprong, did you get the hero point at 12:30? When you stepped away, I think I gave a hero point out.
Okay, then I've got to... I'll try again, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're drifting in, and that one you can see, as you get to a certain distance, begins to sort of move slowly and surreptitiously against the current.
Then I will glide back again, out to where I was, further away.
It drifts back down slowly.
And now I shall head back to the shore where I originally got it.
So you can picture that it's, that sound, the underwater sound of like, everything's distorted and whatnot, and then as soon as you come above the water, all you can hear is, "You're not supposed to be here!" And you can see that up on a little ways away from the shore, there appears to be Golag on one side, and Basil and Dr. Earthsprung on the other, and they seem to be involved in some kind of discussion or perhaps argument with those two workmen. You are they are well and truly distracted, though. Golag with a 30 on his deception has them completely distracted. You could get out and like dance a jig down the beach if you chose to. What do you do, Sam?
I'll watch them with just my eyes peering out from above the water.
Love
and
it.
watch these.
Yep.
I'm most impressed by how these groundskeepers are going to deal with a large rat with a parasol.
So the cutting back to the rest of our Illuminators, how do you guys see this ending? How do you guys see the scene ending? Are you trying to sneak past these guys or to gain access to other parts of the ruins, or are you satisfied that you've stalled sufficiently? I can't remember if you guys had said anything other than, you were going to distract them. How do you intend on having Sally message that she's already done the completed the inspection? And I guess it's good that nothing went wrong, because you guys didn't have any kind of contingency for if something happened to her.
Sally can manage.
I was on my own.
No, but I think maybe we should just I mean, that might sound a little bit strange, but actually we were going to the spar, but we seem to have missed this thing. There's
no spar here. Back that way. That
yes,
way.
We see that there's no spar here, but where do we have to go exactly?
Back that way. First time you can, turn left. Don't go straight.
Okay. And by left, you mean this or this? Wait a minute.
He steps forward and holds up your hand. This one.
Oh,
this
I
one.
See.
And he then uses your hand to gesture in that direction. That way, then turn that way.
Yeah. You must excuse me, but we are actually, and I pointed go like, we are used to someone else driving us around in the city, and it is remarkably complicated to navigate on this.
You can tell the guy with the wheelbarrow at this point is just like apoplectic. He doesn't understand what you're saying. Half of the words that you said did not sink in. And he's just like, "You're not supposed to be here. That way, then left."
Okay. Yeah. So thank you very much. You're so kind.
And for Golag, how do you wish to deal with your fellow?
He's moving slowly, and once in a while, putting his hand on Dr. Earthsprung and pointing out into the ocean, like and making some kind of touristy comments. And
Kelbo paysage.
Yeah, slowly make our way.
I think I've told you guys that story before, didn't I? My Quebec trip. In junior high school, we went to Quebec, and we got like tickets for every time we used a French phrase appropriately. And our French teacher taught us the Kelbo paysage. What beautiful countryside! And we would constantly be like, Medill Atkins, Kelbo paysage, Medill Atkins, Kelbo paysage. So that was kibosh pretty quickly. But with them out of the way, you guys are able to give sufficient distraction for Dr. Earthsprung. You can see Sally's, doing her best Gilman impression and is just poking above the surface.
Yeah, I think I'll even sort of put my hand on one of the shoulders or something, and then just sort of give a sort of wave or a sort of gesture to Sally so they can't see it because it's behind their back. And sort of wave as if we're going, basically, so she knows that we're making our way, and then she can. Obviously, I'm confident that she'll be able to stealth away and avoid these these guys. So.
Okay. So she swims over. You're not even going to need to make a roll for when you exit the water, Sally, because of Golag's clever deception.
Good stuff.
So as you exit the water and scamper your way, there's also, fortunately, some of the walls are high enough to be able to provide a great line of sight break. So you're able to kind of scamper up, get there, and then meet up. And how, Golag, Basil, and Dr. Ursprung, how do you leave these put-upon groundskeepers? They will walk with you down the road until they stop kind of at the edge of the ruins and ensure that you are walking away.
You can just go slowly. And if we happen to see Sally make a move, then I might behave a little differently, a little more distracting, but yep. Otherwise just move slowly.
Sally, what do you do then?
I'll be waiting for the moment to rejoin.
Yeah.
When they've got the towels.
So was there anything interesting in the wheelbarrow? Could we have a peek?
Yeah, you absolutely can. Go ahead and give us a perception check.
I mean, if we talk to them all the time and I even pretend not to know right from left, then I would have a look. 24.
Okay. What you can see in there, whatever that is, it appears to be the kind of stuff you would expect to see from a groundskeeper. There's like a hoe, there's shears, there's a shovel and whatnot, and in the bag, which is old, like in that so it's still intact, but the class doesn't work anymore, so it sits open. There is a it looks like there are some alchemical chemicals.
Yes. I know what you want to say.
Great narrative. There are some alchemical substances that are in there that do not look like the standard. You can picture that in Paridar when they mass produce things, they arrive in those kind of like prefab tins that you would expect from Victorian, production. These are the kind of things that come from a custom workshop, not from a thing. It's closer to what you would see in like Dr. Ursprung's laboratory, rather than the or an alchemist lab where they're producing stuff on a one-for-one basis, as opposed to like weed killer or something like that would come in a larger prefab tin with a very friendly looking logo or label on it.
Interesting. So just to keep the conversation alive, I would ask them maybe. So I'm used to sheep by the sea. There don't seem too many sheep around here.
Well, it's not going to be any sheep here. Go back to the farms of sheep. You want to see sheep forward, and you can't. You're not supposed to be here.
Yes. Yeah. No sheep. It's really, really amazing. Golek, you hear that? No sheep here.
I knew this would.
Is there something wrong with him?
I knew this would tick your interest, Basil. I knew it.
There ain't no sheep there. What's these people on about? So they see them on their way. You can hear them muttering to one another, and I will leave it to your imagination, Golag, to guess what they say about you once you're out of earshot from your lip reading. But you have not left a flattering impression of city folk among these two groundskeepers. But one thing you do pick up as they're going away, someone asks about telling... Hold on here. Where is... Someone says about telling someone, and I don't... I'm going to get you to make another society roll, because it's a given name that he says, and that will be, I think, more challenging to be able to read. Not impossible for you, certainly, but it will require a society roll, please. And that is good enough. Ignatius. He says. And one asks about telling Ignatius, and the other one says, I'm not telling him. We're not telling him nothing. I don't know why you're lip reading in my faux English accent, but it's what you picked up. So.
When we get, and so at some point there's a little distance between us, Kevin, between the
yes,
ground
you
creatures?
certainly have. You're far enough away from them for you can lip read them, but you can speak in a tone that will not be overheard by them.
So, a couple things. They just brought up a name. Their apparent boss, Ignatius, seems to be. They're debating on whether to tell him.
Wasn't that the name of the father of the village here?
Oh. Perhaps.
If it rings a bell, this may be a coincidence. Basil, would you give us a society check, please? You get your bonus for the mystery.
Mm-hmm. 90.
Awesome.
24?
Yep. You sort of reach in, get your little, whatever, like your notepad of whatever kind, whether it's bound. I don't know whether spiral pad is an invention of the 19th or 20th century, but it's part of the fun of playing a Call of Cthulhu game sometimes. Like, was this invented yet? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember the 1920s at all. Ignatius was the given name of the laborer who went missing from that warehouse. Definitely could be a coincidence.
Yeah. Has Sally already told us about the axe?
No, I think you guys are maybe talking about this when Sally has made her way over. Remember, she's also much faster than you guys, so she could easily be in a position to walk in whenever you feel like.
And that's the next thing I say. And prior to that, they were talking amongst themselves about it's almost time for eggs to hatch.
I think they said hatching. They didn't necessarily say eggs. That's why you thought it was match at first.
Oh, hatching. There might be some hatching.
So, Sally, you can rejoin your companions whenever you choose.
Yep. So I will join up and towel myself down and get.
So you can assume you've overheard what they were talking about as you sort of made your appearance.
Yep. So I hear that and I say, hatching. That sounds rather odd because I found more of those eggs. The eggs that our gnomish friend shared. There's hundreds of them down there at the bottom.
Yeah.
And something seems to be protecting them. I don't know what it is, but each time I got close, something rose from the bottom. And
Something
also,
rose.
This seems to be, the water seems to be dead. Otherwise, because I could hear nothing, and you would expect sound to travel brilliantly through water. So there's nothing else in there except the egg and their guardian. And that all sounds rather sinister in line with hatching.
So that means maybe this place is really the origin of this Dark Tide Riders.
From what Sally knew from before, the Dark Tide Riders are a deep sea thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
So in this, but for the recent showing of these Dark Tide Riders.
Yeah. I will also, Sally did not, because she was being careful to keep a distance from it too, did not get in and inspect all the nooks and crannies of this sprawling, sunken keep. She only saw one clutch of eggs.
Yeah.
But already hundreds.
And would you be able to tell the difference between a dark Tide Rider egg and the Sea Devil eggs, if you
Oh no.
Most definitely.
you would.
Yeah, even knowing that the Sea Devils are a much larger species than what the Dark Tide Riders are. The Dark Tide Riders are something that just sort of, they're a parasitic species, so the eggs would even be, setting aside whatever other ways they would look differently, the size of them would certainly,
Yeah, so these were definitely Dark Tide Rider eggs, the ones similar to the ones we found in Paridar, or they found in Paridar. So what's the connection between the Sea Devils and the Dark Tide Riders?
Stanley, would you say that what rose up was organic or magical? The Defender was like a creature?
It seemed to be vegetation,
Vegetation.
but it definitely was not just chance. Each time I approached, it rose up to meet me. That's why I think it's a guardian of some kind, which is most unusual for sea kelp, I must say.
it's normally very amenable and delicious.
Yeah. So, do we know about the Sea Devils? I mean, they are not in league with these Dark Tide Riders normally. I mean, they would be completely different species, and it seems unlikely that they would work together in a way.
Well, what do you know about the Dark Tide Riders thus far?
And there's some kind of parasitic species, so I mean, they could have infected Sea Devils as well. That might be a thing, but
Are they small enough to inhabit someone but not be evident? Do they like burrow in, or because the holes that they left in those skulls was quite noticeable? So they're not like, they couldn't be within someone and live in and not be noticeable.
They would be noticeable, but for land-dwelling things, there could be ways of concealing it. They are creatures of the sea, so like taking, say, a squid or an octopus out of the water, they're going to be able to flatten out, and also like those things famously can fit themselves through very, very, very small areas, so they may be able to condense down as well.
But you wouldn't be able to, like one of the member of the town wouldn't be able to have something on his back or something, latched onto it and controlling him.
From what you saw, no, not on a back, but a hat, a cap, a bonnet.
And have we seen much evidence of that throughout the town? Do most people wear hats?
Do you recall the greetings that you saw coming in? You saw people tipping
They
their
didn't
or
raise their hats.
they all sort of tapped their hat towards you, but no one
raised the hat. Yeah. I mean, I think that a real cultist would always wear a hood. I mean, that's basically a requirement.
Maybe these are rebel cultists.
You're living in the past, Basil. You need to.
No, I mean, come on. I mean, hats are a sign of civilization, and it can't be that.
It's the friendly nature of the townsfolk. They all seem to be very similar, almost.
Yeah.
I don't know, acting under the same sort of instructions.
You would know that some there were definitely, like if you're thinking back, like some of those ones who were acting in a strange way definitely did have hats on, whether they were like, Tams or whatever. But there were also some who definitely did not have hats on.
Yeah.
Definitely bare heads.
Proprietess didn't have a hat, right? Our proprietess
did not have hats on, no.
But I remember that we had established that these Dark Tide Riders are not, these hyper-intelligent creatures. They are more like somewhere in between, so they wouldn't be able to fool a family or something like that, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, they are a brute force kind of thing, more so than typically than an infiltration, unless. And also, it's a a plague that a lot of underwater species would be aware of. Sally could tell you this. But for the surface, who are inclined, not a lot of, call for hats among Sally's people. So you don't really have the cultural reasons for, excuses to hide the top of your head. Whereas on the surface,
These two groundkeepers, they have hats on?
one of them did.
Well,
But one did not.
One did not.
I feel we need to investigate a couple of people when we get the opportunity.
I mean, we could try to snatch someone and maybe be able to just have some kind of medical examination. If we could, I don't know, manage to get someone to sleep.
Autopsy in our room?
No, not an autopsy. I want this like not no cutting and no killing.
That escalated really quickly.
I was thinking more like a clumsy Igor situation, knocking someone's hat off or something.
Yeah.
To give us the opportunity to have a little look.
I think
Some
that
hat swatting goes throughout the village.
Battle straight to abduction and murder, whereas Dr. Adam's a little more restrained. It's...
Or we could just cut someone open, whichever.
Well, we start with hat swatting, and when we narrow it down, we snatch that person for the nighttime activity, the autopsy.
We've gone from misdemeanor of trespassing to felony of kidnapping.
You got to break a few eggs.
Well, speaking of that, we are at our mid-session break now. Seems a good time to take our break and consider what our options are for next steps. So for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Okay. So let's see.
Kev, can you just refresh the screen? Me token's not updating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got it. Oh, you know what? I think this might do it here. There's that, and then that. That work?
Yep.
Perfect. Perfection. Okay. Hi, everybody in chat too. Hope the weekend is treating you well, or if it's a long weekend, wherever you are. Does everyone have Labor Day weekend this weekend? I know North America does, but
That's the North America thing.
ah, Labor Day
Sadly.
is every day in Europe. Okay. So everyone, did I give a hero point back before we took our break, or no? I don't think so, right?
Nope.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
You skinflint, Madison. My goodness. All right. So always wait for Basil to get back. Well, it is a long weekend here, and I am taking tomorrow off, which means I either will be playing video games tonight, or I'll be working on Shadowrun. Because I really want to get that to the table soon.
Nice.
There we go. And you've Ingolf is back, so he knows he's to blame for future dalliances in a very soggy and noir Seattle.
Yeah.
So then, actually, that's not true. I've got probably going to use Toronto because that 30 Nights campaign has that, and it takes out the two things that I don't really like in Shadowrun. So there's not really any decking in it, and there's not really any rigging. So it's just magic and guns.
Yeah.
So
some people were complaining because this campaign is basically you're in this blackout city, and
I get why people would not if you didn't like that, but it's the same. Those same people in the earlier editions complained about my favorite adventure, which is I can't remember. It's either called Strange Fruit or Bitter Fruit, and like your job is to go to the Amazon and steal some giant kiwis and get back, and it means that you got to sneak into Amazonia in order to do that. And then there's a bunch of other shit that goes on. It's a terrific showcase for a lot of the great stuff about the setting, like the unusual paranormal based countries and the endemic racism that can kind of be there, but it also has absolutely no decking and absolutely no rigging. So a lot of folks don't like that if they like playing those types of characters, but what are you gonna do? Okay, that one that's set in Barcelona also looks pretty fucking cool, and that does involve everybody, which I can't remember the name of it.
They have some cool fiction about these other countries as well. So there's a great novella about Barcelona and so on.
Oh, is there? That's cool.
Yes.
Well, and also I keep telling John, like John doesn't know Shadowrun really at all, but he lives just outside of Portland, and I keep telling him like, "Oh, your city is in Tier 10 gear now." He's like, "I don't know what that means." Okay. So then, guys, you are on your walk back to town right now, or at least to the junction that goes off towards the what do you call it? The spa. What are you guys talking about? I mean, we interrupted your. I believe the legal term for it is conspiracy.
No. That was just some random thought, and there was no.
Brainstorming. Pure
Yes.
brainstorming.
Yeah. It was just good. Yeah.
Let's see. What is our next move? Well, we still have the spa. We have some hat investigation, some hat swatting to potentially attempt.
Yeah. I mean, if we still don't know what the woman from the inn wanted to do, but if these creatures are very easily attachable, then coming in at night and just putting one of them on your head while you are sleeping because you were given some kind of poison, that should really work out well.
But it doesn't seem likely that this whole head thing's the case, right? Because I do notice that the two people who did seem to be knowing about hatching of presumably eggs, unless Golag is right about them being chicken farmers, one was not wearing a hat.
Yeah, do we know that they have to attach to the head?
So I think the head is perhaps a little bit of a red herring.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I have to say, while red herring, from experience, is very nice to eat, they're inadvisable.
This town has definitely made a deal with somebody to get all this extra fish, you know. So I wouldn't put it past people to go as low as like sacrificing some of their number even for massive wealth, you know, in fish, etc. Maybe there's the promise that they'll, you know, let them go afterwards, and I don't know. I don't know how these Dark Riders work exactly, but there's definitely an agreement with either these devils, the sea devils, or something has brought all this prosperity to the town, and they seem to be the most likely as creatures of the sea. So someone's done a deal somewhere.
Shall we try this spa?
I mean, we only have a good. So we have the spa and we have hat swatting. And what else do we have? What else did we want to follow up on?
I mean, what we could do is just talk to the priest.
Yep.
Because if it seems like he's the head of the human part of this conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, but he could at least guide us to that. Maybe.
It is hard to believe, given that a church inquisitor is who disappeared. Hard to believe the priest doesn't have any idea of what's going on. I mean, even if he was, let's say, somehow not involved, not, you know, on the black hat side of this, surely he has information for us. Like, it's not like, oh, what? An inquisitor? What are you talking about? Like, how is that possible? Like, how is it that he wouldn't have a clue? Right?
Well, even showing no, you know, sort of interest in the windows that have been newly replaced. You know, oh, why did you have the windows changed? They're very interesting, blah, blah, blah.
Indeed.
You know, he's, I assume, responsible for having those windows changed out, and we've found strange symbols and things going on with those.
I think we could just try to look him up and maybe then, or to visit him and try to find him and talk to him.
During the day, yeah.
Without necessarily having to do an autopsy after that. That could be an option.
Let's keep it in mind.
Yeah. We won't rule it out completely yet.
Right. We have a few things to spring on him too, depending on. We should discuss what our approach should be with him, because also we could mention the visit of the mysterious creatures that looked in on his church. You know, I know whether we bring that up or not, it's on the menu, if you will. Like, it's, you know, if we're coming in, like, you know, full open coat, as it were, you know, that we can ask him about all manner of things. I mean, if we're not trying to angle it, you know, if we're not trying to remain that what our full participation is. In other words, if we're not trying to keep that under wraps at all, we have some things to bounce off of. The windows, the visit. Well, if we're really going full in, the stone, I mean, you know, that would be full on since it's his. But
yeah, but maybe just maybe we could try to talk to him.
Yeah,
and without just giving everything away at once. So that there might not be. I mean, if we press him, I suppose there will be violence because, I mean.
Well, what happened to the last investigator who came here?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that kind of violence that is subtle and happens in the night, I think we can manage. But a full-on like, I don't know, like a rally across the village where every townsfolk is trying to stab us, that would be something we shouldn't do.
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly, start. We can start try with a more innocent inquiry.
I mean, could we use Golag's shadow to like maybe get into the room that he probably won't let us into, his sort of quarters, maybe to investigate, or even to investigate the lady from the inn, see if there's anything hidden away in her bedroom or a locked door somewhere. Maybe there's some hidden secrets in the Shore Gate Arms, is it? So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point that the two most suspicious people in town, I think that we know of. Well, let's put aside the groundskeepers at the moment who seem involved, but from a more surface, at this point, a surface level, is our proprietress, as Dr. Ursprung ably brings up, and this priest. Those are our two main hubs of inquiry as far as people-wise.
Yeah.
So do we try and do it on the stealthy route to start with? Just general questions about the church, the new windows, stuff that might not be that suspicious to start with.
I think so. And what even for that though, because obviously those aren't tourist questions as much. We'd have to work hard to try to bring that in bring that up as a tourist, as a tourist. So perhaps stick with should we try something from the insurance side, like we tried with the architect? We could go a little strange, vague insurance, or
you could attempt to be an insurance person and say, oh, these look like they've been newly replaced, these windows. Have you had some damage here or work done, or has there been some accident or something?
And alternatively, I'll just bring it up for our triangulation, or a friend of the Inquisitor asked us to, and I realize that's more serious, that's a more serious angle to take, but a friend of the Inquisitor asked us to stop in and take a look for him. I'm just throwing that out there so we can have options to.
Yeah, maybe we could just say we are indeed investigators, and we are from Paridar, and the family of said Inquisitor is very keen on finding out where he went, and so they will. I think they will come up with a story, and that's interesting, maybe.
Yeah, it's at some point. I mean, it's tempting at some point to turn it up a little bit. That rather than it's at some point we're going to have to let on that we're on the job for somebody, and that lets us ask more pointed questions. And so that's tempting to now that alone could trigger a serious response. So we have to be ready.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't expect it, because I think they will still want us out of town. That would be the easiest thing to do. Just say, well, he went to Barrington, we are sure, because he went missing there, or something like that. That's what I suppose.
But should we visit this spa?
Oh, first?
It's the obvious place that's being hung out there, and while they may stonewall us, it seems that we should, before we start deep diving, we should maybe at least visit all the obvious possibilities.
Okay, so then let's go to the spa. But I think that there's not a small chance that I might fall asleep there.
Well, I think you're supposed to, in a sense. If you could go. Oh, what if you could go in for services?
Oh,
if you wish, Basil. You do look.
Yeah.
You do have some rings under the eyes.
Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah.
This is monocle.
Because my next
rather
question,
fancied the spa anyway.
yeah, my next question was going to be, what's our angle there? You know, like, because they just to try to have something. Let's say we anticipate that they're going to stonewall us. Maybe they won't, but probably. And so, what's our angle to try to pry it open a little? So you guys could go for services.
I think I would go. I would go there for the full service. Yes.
Okay. You too, Sally? What do you think? You a twofer?
Absolutely. I can only imagine they have some delightful skin moistening treatment.
So you two go in for the tourist pair, and then Dr. Ursprung and I are the rescue team when they try live autopsies on you in there.
It's going to be great seeing
the
the two of you guys standing across from one another and throwing medicine balls back and forth for 3 hours.
Yeah,
Sounds like a plan.
well, we'll see.
So then,
All right.
you have a course of action?
Yeah.
Okay. So I do not have a picture of the spa, but right back here. So with you guys heading towards us, you are arriving on foot, and it'll probably be, with all things in, a little after noon when you guys are arriving at this place. And the spa itself, and to call it a spa is actually to rub it of its proper name, the Scopia Holiday Lodge. You see a lovely sign denoting that you will be entering the Scopia Holiday Lodge's grounds as you are approaching. And the lane, almost at like the road up towards it, is designed to showcase the premises itself. There is a very serene green lawn that stretches out for quite some distance, where people are relaxing or performing exercises or whatnot, or otherwise just ambling around near the coast. The lodge itself is set up on a prominence above. It's actually a little higher than Dag on the Sea itself. So at this time of day, you can look to the south and see Dag on the Sea, Dag on the Sea seated there. And you can see the ancient harbor around which the fishing boats are normally located. The lodge itself is a fairly sprawling single-story operation with a ton of people wandering around on here dressed in white, who seem to be the staff members, either orderlies or otherwise physicians, making their way around. And as you are approaching the front, you do see, while the guests seem largely in their own, kind of in their own business, the staff members, as you approach, all seem to, hello, welcome, hello, welcome, as you are making your approach. The doors this is the largest part of the roof, is the entrance itself, almost as if it is trying to impress not the seriousness or the grandeur or anything like that. It is, in contrast to a lot of places you would see in Paridar itself, there's a lot of natural materials that are made use of here, with wood and whatnot, and great big windows out front as well. The doors open up, and you can see there are one or two guests being served by orderlies in here, and then there is kind of a reception kind of area, or check-in area, as it were, almost like a holiday vacation spot might be. And as you are all kind of taking in, what's going on in here, this isn't 2 stories in here, but there is a big high ceiling in here that lends this place almost like an auditorium kind of quality. And you can see out back there is another area, and it looks like there is a place like an amphitheater almost, for where you might host some kind of performances or presentations or whatnot. And from the look of things, it's all like very, very ancient stone, as if the amphitheater predated the lodge. And as you walk in, there is some someone who gets up from kind of the reception area, a young woman dressed all in white. She looks to be a half-elf. She has slender, pointed ears and the kind of more angular features that are characteristic of elves, but she does not seem to be... She's taller than what you would expect from an elf, but she walks over, her hair in a tight bun. Good afternoon. Are you checking in, then? Traveling lately?
Yes, we are staying at the inn at the shore. Oh, come on, dear. You are better with names, and I look at Sal.
The Shoregate Arms, Basil. The Shoregate.
The Shoregate Arms. I see.
So, Adam, you are also with us. Okay, so that's okay. Good.
Then, and you do not have reservations then?
We were under the impression... Yeah, sorry? Oh,
Yeah, I was hoping you could just fit us in for a little treatment. You know how it is. My friends just love this more rustic thing of the Shoregate Arms, but, you know how it is. One does like to get a little treatment.
You don't have a referral from your physician? You just come here on vacation?
Yes, very much, yeah.
Oh,
and this spa was very, very much recommended to us.
Allow me to speak to an administrator. What was it that you... I think there may have been a misunderstanding, ma'am, but we don't offer... This is a medical facility, not a vacation facility.
Oh, how disappointing. So what sort of treatments do you give? What sort of ailments do you treat?
Oh, a wide variety of treatments. Is there something you were looking for assistance with, ma'am? Perhaps we could make reservations for you at another time.
Oh, no, all in good health. I was just rather curious. I must say I'm a little disappointed because I was hoping for a little pampering and such like, but...
Yes,
I guess. But
I'm very sorry, ma'am. Yeah,
I'm intrigued. So many visitors. So many people with poor health.
We have... And she walks over and grabs a pamphlet and brings it over. You could bring this with you, ma'am. I have one for each of you. And she hands them out. And... Dr. Ersprung, you're looking at this and flipping through, and you need not make a medicine roll, but this is either very speculative medicine and in bold new areas of non-physical treatment, or it is utter quackery. She does not have a hat on. Some of the orderlies do, though.
You have a Dr. Kellogg here?
We do not, unfortunately.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, that is very, very unfortunate because we were told we should visit the spa. So, in order to but
who told you to visit?
Yes, our innkeeper. But do you know by any chance if there are like resident physicians here in the city or in the town who could then help us to get this kind of medical procedure going?
Well, you would have to discuss that with your physicians, and your physicians could write the administrator, and then you could, and he kind of, she looks over you all, and it is also not,
you would say it is not very cheap, and maybe you underestimate our financial.
She gets quite red at that and says, "I'm very sorry, sir. I truly did not wish to cause offense."
No problem.
No. I would encourage you to review these, though, and they, if you are, this time of year we are quite busy with patients, but if you have your physician speak to the administrator, perhaps something could be arranged. We have cancellations at times, and truly the benefits to the patients who do attend are the treatment providers here do work wonders.
I will. I'm going to take a look around while the conversation's going on, this little office, and see if I see any. If I notice any signs, any symbols, or of something that I wouldn't expect in such a location. Maybe
Sure.
if there's any little.
What's your occultism bonus?
My occultism bonus is 14.
14. You're looking around here, and there is. You're not certain of the affiliation, but you do spot one or two markings in here that definitely mark this place as having a connection with some kind of secret society. But yeah, as you may recall, like the kinds of like fraternal orders and whatnot, like that, there are tons of them in Paridar proper. The fact that this has an allegiance with one of those things does not necessarily mean that there is a nefarious bent to it, or at least not that you can recognize.
Okay.
But yes, you definitely, and you would recognize that symbol if you saw it again. What I can tell you it isn't is anything that you have seen thus far. So,
All right.
Miss is not associated with this. The cult of that Brimorak is not associated with this. What other markings have you seen thus far?
Church? We saw something in the church, didn't we?
This, as far as you can tell, yeah, this is nothing with the Church of the Heavenly Host, nor is it with whatever those markings were on the church in town. No, this is definitely the types of orders, the secretive orders that populate Paridar, the ones that control the reins of power, as it were. They all share similar characteristics in the same way that you can kind of look at like Freemasonry markings or Rosicrucian markings or things like that, that they seem to have like there's a certain quality that they go for with them. This is definitely one of them. You just do not know what that allegiance is at present.
So, I just one final question, maybe our status is not so obvious, but is there any special exception for like veterans of the war, or
She looks disappointed. She says, "I'm afraid I'm not aware of any. No."
Oh, that is interesting. So, I will bring that up at our next meeting of the veterans. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, if I look around and see what sort of patients are they?
You give us a perception check, please. Oh, and everyone gets a hero point too.
Oh, duh.
Unless you're at your maximum, in which case don't be greedy. Okay. Sally, you would guess... So here's the thing I think is curious, is as you're looking around, for one, the first thing you can gather is that everyone most definitely is of means. These are it's aristocrats who are visiting out here. And you probably recognize, you didn't roll a crit, so you're not recognizing anyone you know, but there are faces you recognize from your days, perhaps even at the at some of the parties that you've attended with Ms. Lagrange recently. There's definitely some... It is the upper crust of Paridar that are attending here.
Mm.
Dr. Ersprung? Anything you wish to do? Golag's been looking for secret symbols. Basil has been plying this lady for information. Sally has been keeping an eye on the guests that are here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just checking out, like you say, the documentation and how authentic I think this place is, and whether they're just taking people for a ride with money.
Give us a medicine check. Let's see what you're able to gauge from here. Want to hear a point that?
Yeah, that is rubbish.
Not 20, baby. So here's what you can tell. For one, everything that they're talking about here is like, this is the kind of facility where almost everything they offer is definitely going to make people feel better, in the sense that like a good night's sleep would make someone feel better, or that, you know, time away from the regular grind would make people feel better. Everything that they're giving there's nothing, like, this is not healing anybody of any persisting issue. This is a you would guess that the administrators of here are, nothing is unhealthy, mind you, but everything that's in here is exactly, if you were going to put together a plan that will seem like there's a medicinal purpose to it, that has the trappings of that and yields enough benefits so you'll feel better afterwards, this is the type of facility you would go. But there's nothing revolutionary going here. This is a very, or it seems to be a very elaborate way to separate rich people from their money.
Yeah, I'll see if I can quiz her on a couple of the treatments. Like,
she's not a physician, so like you will very easily stump her up very quickly. She'll rely on the talking points that you see in the brochure. But
she doesn't sort of, you know, wait here, I'll go and find someone who knows more, or is she?
Not really, because the thing is that you're also, remember, you're not patients here, so she's probably more humoring you and not being rude because she seems like a decent enough person. You can imagine that there may be others who would more, you know, once they realize you can't afford shit, to be like, get the fuck out.
Actually, we could afford shit, but we don't want to. But...
Well, what I'll tell you as well, actually, this place, this would strain your finances. Like, you guys are fairly independently wealthy, but you guys are not like aristocrat wealthy.
Yeah, so only Golag is maybe, but yeah.
Golag's dad, if you ask Daddy.
Yeah.
Daddy,
okay.
but I want to go to the spa. Come on. That's his actual accent. He just puts on this, you know. No, what I will say is, Basil, why don't you give us a society check, please?
Yes, surely.
And this is part of your investigation, so you do get the +1 from that. Okay. Yep. It's worth starting each session with us remembering what the median kind of, what the average difficulty is for our level, just to give context to whatever our dice rolls are.
Yeah, this is not a great roll, actually.
It's actually not that bad, no, because I think 22, did I say 22 is the average?
21 or 22, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 22 is for level 6, 22 is the average. So that's better than average. It's not a crit, but it's better than average, but that's good enough for you to pick up that as you're talking to this lady, you would guess, like, she is trying to church up her accent a little bit, but you can hear that regional dialect of Dag-on-the-Sea underneath it.
Yeah.
So she definitely is a local who is working here.
Yeah, that's fine with us. So I think I would talk to the others as well. So come on, then let's not steal this young lady's time any longer. I think there's work to be done here. So thank you very much again.
There is, as you're walking away,
and I'm so tired.
There is actually, as you're looking down the list of in the brochure, because you rolled a crit, Doctor. there is actually a name you recognize on there. Dr. Mary McKinnon. And let me put that in chat for you. Not someone you know terribly well, but I think that it is someone you've dealt with in some capacity. Perhaps she was a resident at some point alongside you, so it's probably a younger doctor. I think she is a... Let's see here. You know what? She is a hobgoblin. And you don't know Mary or Dr. McKinnon, you're not necessarily friends or whatnot. I think this group is probably, from the sounds of things, your first sort of real group of friends apart from, Dr. Raycroft before, recent times. And who else? Oh, and Cyrus. I think Cyrus is kind of a friend at this point. Yep. Oh, and Betty. So what am I talking about? You got tons of friends. Jeez. A popular guy, my goodness. So you recognize that as you're sort of walking out the door. I'll let you do with that information as you see fit.
Was she a sort of general practitioner or specialize in anything particularly? Or?
I think she's probably quite junior. Because you didn't really you didn't go to med school or anything like that. You just have that knowledge and sort of once with Dr. Raycroft's help, you convinced the kind of Paridar medical board that you were able to practice. You sort of went in. She was a junior doctor, a resident at one of the hospitals where you were working. And I think that you... let's see, what will we roll? Let's roll society, please. See if you can remember what her specialty was. Yeah, you actually definitely recognize. She was in whatchamacallit, in what's the word I'm looking for here? Pediatrics. She's working with children. At least from what you recall. Anything else you guys wish to, while Dr. Ursprung is considering that, anything else you guys wish to do before you leave the Scopia Holiday Lodge?
No. I'm finished. Let me put it this way.
Oh, just be clear too. You definitely could afford a trip here, but it would be a significant outlaying of funds to do it. So it's not that you guys are beyond the means of this. It's not so expensive that you couldn't do it. It's that unless you are of kind of independently wealthy status, then it will be an imposition on your finances to be able to afford a week's stay at the Scopia Holiday Lodge.
Yeah. The leg's ready to go if everyone else is exhausted there. Angles?
I think I would probably ask. I assume this is a receptionist.
Yep.
If the Dr. McKinnon was in today, if she was available.
So her face kind of. Forgive me, sir. Do you know Dr. McKinnon?
We used to work together. I'm from Paridar.
You can see she's once again her manners are overtaking her curiosity. But you can see she wants to ask working doing what? Oh,
I'm a doctor myself.
Are you? And let me just make a nat 20 again. I'm pretty sure I cannot actually use this Brancolonia dice because I've rolled 7 nat 20s.
Or it'll never roll one again.
So, let's roll a 16, 19, 20. I'm not kidding. Yeah, this dice is probably a jack dice, which fits with the setting for Brancolonia. That's hilarious. Oh my god, if that's true. So what? Yeah. What? She stops and kind of like does an up and down, and then her eyes kind of open up, and she says, "You're Dr. Unsprung."
You've heard of me?
Yes. Yes. And her accent is starting to slip in now because she's just enthusiastic. You were the charity. And she's trying to, like, you can tell she knows what happened at your charity event and is trying to not be rude to you once again.
Mm.
I know who you are, Doctor. Yes, and you know Dr. McKinnon.
A while ago, but it would be nice to catch up if she was free.
I'm not certain what her schedule is like now, but you said you are staying at the Shoregate Arms?
Yes, that's right.
Depending on your time, I could bring a message to her now and see if she is free, or you could leave a message with her and I will ensure that she gets the message and is informed as to where you will be.
Well, if she's available, I'd love to talk to her, but if she would like to catch up, then after work, I will be there for an evening meal tonight, if she will be available.
Allow me to and she sort of leaves you guys and heads away, and she seems to go into the into the office itself. I just rolled another nat 20. This for sure is a fucking jack dice. Is it really?
Well, you keep that die in a very special place when you need it.
Yeah, really. No, it's yeah. Like, I don't remember it being advertised as a jack dice, but yeah, no, I'm not rolling 20s all the time now. Boy, that's funny.
Or during your Thursday night gamble sessions.
Well, I'm going to use it for Night Below.
There you go. There you go.
Got to keep the challenge up in that game. I got to check the Kickstarter again to see if that's the case, because that's going to be funny if that is what they did. Oh my God, guys! I just rolled another fucking nat 20.
Huh?
What is this? I guess I should, if I'm going to place any bets, I'm not a gambler, but if I'm going to place any bets, today really is the day to do it. Holy crap.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for the best, it's not a combat-heavy session, right? It's going to be brutal. So that tells me that, yeah, she's actually available now for a chat if you'd like. There is on the front lawn near the sea. If you want to meet her out there, she'll come in and meet you.
Yeah. She's available, and then my friends can join us.
Yeah. If you guys you're able to leave the lodge itself, and from the glass you can see whatever's going on in front. The lawn itself, looking out over the sea, is certainly wide enough and long enough for you guys to have privacy, so where you are fairly confident that no one is listening in. So you guys have a couple of minutes before Dr. McKinnon will arrive. Anything you guys wish to discuss about what you've seen or what you've heard or what you've learned?
Obviously, I'll let everyone know that I've arranged to have a quick word with one of the doctors here that worked with in Paridar, in case there's any questions. I don't know, I probably didn't know her that well, but she might give us some information indirectly.
I saw some society symbols around the office, but nothing overly suspicious. They don't seem attached to anything we've seen in town, and no organization that we think is involved at this point in this matter. Possibly something more mundane like you would find in Paridar.
But still a bit suspicious to be in that sort of building, or not so?
You think, Kevin, do I have any feeling?
With given who this the clientele or the patients serviced by this place are, it's probably not surprising that one of the occult societies that work. Remember that the what's his name? Oh boy, it's been so long. It is. I believe this is likely one of the most heavily documented campaigns I run right now, because every one of these mysteries does require a lot more planning ahead of time than some of the other things. The Eckhart nephew, remember? He had a symbol on his thing. This is different from that, but you would guess similar. So it's likely one of the upper echelon kind of societies that is associated with it. Doesn't mean you need to be a member to necessarily access this place. It means, in some cases, there is just benefit in knowing who among the elite are going to be in a specific location at a certain time, so you can be there to, talk to them or network with them, or whatever the Paridar equivalent of networking is. Socializing, I imagine. So, yes, so that's what you know about that secret society. No more nefarious than any other cabal of rich and potentially magical, capitalists can be.
Very good. So just we'll have you have your conversation, Dr. Ursprung, and see what you think of that, and then possibly we visit the church.
Yep.
Yes, we should do that. Yes.
So, if you guys keep it, are you keeping a discreet distance from Dr. Ursprung, or are you?
Yeah, I think I would. I think we'll keep to ourselves and chat, over on the other side, maybe, or let him have his conversation.
Okay. It's a few minutes before she arrives, Dr. Ursprung, but then you look over and, given the white clothes and the I think you recognize Dr. McKinnon quite a way. She has like light bluish skin, the red eyes, the same kind of the look of most hobgoblins. She walks over, and when she sees you, she recognizes kind of who you are. Dr. Ursprung. It was
Dr. McKinnon.
What a surprise! You, I was surprised to hear that you were out here. I was pleased to get your note. I'm glad that you, and flattered that you remembered me. Are things well with you?
As well as can be. There's always lots of work to do in Paridar, as you would know.
Oh, most certainly. And I hear that you have your own clinic servicing the underprivileged.
Yes, it's busy work, but rewarding work.
I imagine. Yes. From what I recall from our conversations before, that was a goal of yours for quite some time, so I'm very pleased to hear that you are doing well with it. I understand that you have a great deal of success, but are you looking for further benefactors?
It can always help. The money will be well spent. It's a bottomless pit, unfortunately.
Yes. Oh, I can only imagine. As you can imagine, as a junior physician on staff, I have very little sway in the administration of even this facility, let alone the funding. But I will be certainly happy to speak up in your favor if there is any additional funding that could be directed your way. Certainly, given such a worthy endeavor.
That's most kind, but it does make me wonder. What brought you to this place? You used to do such good work with the children back in Paridar.
Oh, and I do here as well. Just in a very different facility. I found it was a combination. The offer came for here, and now that I'm out, I find that the climate agrees. And when it's not only adults who are in need of the treatments that we administer here, it is often all families as well that come, and when they do, they bring their children, and I am able to assist in the treatment. But Forgive me, Doctor, what... If it was not a donation, what brings you out here?
Well...
You weren't looking for employment, were you?
No. I'm with my colleagues. We're investigating a disappearance of someone.
At
in
the lodge?
Well, in the town, not in the spa directly, but while we was here, we've been looking around.
Oh, why don't you give us a diplomacy check? Let's see how this goes over.
Yeah. Oh, pretty well. Let's try that again.
That's investigating what's going in the town. You slut! what?
A brawl breaks out in the office right there.
See Dr. Ursula go careening off the cliff.
It was you.
What? So she's a little guarded, and she says, "The town, you say? I'm afraid we have folk." People from the town who come and work in support capacities at the lodge, but because I reside here and we have all our needs set here, I have very little to do with the individuals in town. We truly are more of an island of our own, even though we are attached to the mainland. Is it... Do you suspect murder?
That seems to be jumping a little bit to...
Forgive me. Wait. And she looks over at the 3 milling about on the side there. Is that... Are those the illuminators?
Indeed.
I'd heard that you associate with them. Or read.
When required, certainly. If they need my expertise.
And here I thought... You're... Truly, sir, I am... very gratified by the work that I'm able to do at the lodge, but truly yours is much more exciting. I will say that the people I have met in town, the rare times I've had to go in, mail and so forth, how do you find the people?
Curiously, I find them over-friendly, which is something...
She nods, like, really aggressively, and like, yes, that's it. It's unnervingly friendly.
You don't get that out here at the spa?
With the individuals who work here, they are perfectly pleasant. And I don't mean to be... I thought it myself hardened by time in Paridar and simply not ready for the openness of here. But it's... When someone puts too much sugar in tea, it's sickly. That is what I feel here. Their sweetness is off-putting.
Curious that someone local would feel the same.
And this is it. I am not a local. I've not shared. I wish not to slander that they are the townsfolk most supportive of the and grateful for this. I have come out after the fact, but I understand that there was time when the town may have had only the lodge to support it. Indeed, until the most recent, we've had to bring more staff out with the uptake in the fishing as of late that we have found we've had to hire from Paridar to replace individuals who had been locals. The lodge had been able to, quite frankly, before I arrived, take its pick of the locals to work. It was a very desirable job for the locals, but with the increase in the fishing takes and the operation now of the cannery, it seems that they did not need to work here any longer. And we've seen some laborers, mostly, and orderlies return back to the fishing trade. This is before my time here, but yes.
Is there anything else strange you've seen whilst you've worked here? I mean, I'll hold up the leaflet. I mean, some of these treatments seem a little unusual, shall we say.
Not without medical benefit, though.
Maybe.
She looks a little embarrassed, but she says,
I'm not judging.
Have you spent a night here yet?
Only in the town.
I thought we knew fog in Paridar, and truly, the fogs here are unlike anything I've ever seen. And every night.
Yeah, I witnessed it last night.
I've heard tell that from some of my colleagues that the fog was not always as thick as this, nor did it always reach the lodge in the higher position. But ever since I've been here, thick fogs every night.
That is most unusual.
It is there are some peculiarities, but it is truly, for all seasons, I hear, a wonderful place to be. And she looks around and kind of gestures out, and it is like it's hard pressed to beautiful manicured lawn, gorgeous view of the sea, the sound of the surf below. It's a wonderful place to convalesce.
Well, I am certainly happy that you've found what seems to be the right place for you. So I'm so glad to hear that you were able to pursue your calling as well, Doctor, and such interesting distractions as well, gesturing to the illuminators. There's never a dull moment.
I can imagine. Will you be in town long?
A few days, I should imagine.
I'm not certain what your plans are, but if there is room, perhaps we could have dinner.
Certainly, if your schedule allows.
I will. I think, and she looks at the note, the Shoregate Arms. That's where you are staying.
Indeed.
Certainly. And she kind of asks about what your schedule is going to be like, whether there's certain days where you're free or whatnot. We'll assume that she will send word for when she has time, when she's checked her schedule.
Yep. Yeah, I look forward to it. It'd be good to catch up with old times.
And and to hear what your practice has been as well. And perhaps I might look for some professional advice from you as well.
I'm always happy to help where I can with someone who's learning.
Good. Then thank you, Doctor. And she shakes your hand. Thank you for sending word. I'm thrilled to hear that you will be in town and look forward to our dinner.
Yes, and if you could keep this between us, I would appreciate it.
Oh, and she looks over at the illuminators once again. I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then, please, Enjoy the lawn. I've explained who you are. Feel free to enjoy the grounds as long as you would like, but you should be back in town before, lest you find yourself lost on the road. I would encourage you to be back before the fog rolls in.
Oh, most definitely. I hope to see you shortly or soon.
Thank you. So she leaves you and then makes her way back towards the main lodge. You're free to make your way over to the... I think Golag, am I right in thinking that you've been lip reading this entire time?
Yeah, probably with, with my colleagues chatting and, I don't know, passing the time.
Yeah. So you would have, I can assume you followed up on, I mean, maybe you, like, once you saw that they're just talking about, work and whatnot too, you may have decided to tune that out, as it were.
Yep.
But, yeah, then so Dr. Ersprung, you rejoin your companions?
Yep. So I suggest we travel to the church, and I'll just fill him in briefly. She stays here, but she also finds the townfolk very friendly, a little strange, and said that the fog wasn't as bad as it is now. Before she worked here, it was never this bad and never reached up to the spa. So I think the fog also is tied into this investigation some way.
Mm-hmm. And she didn't offer anything on the... If you shared that you had mentioned to her that you were here on a missing person, you probably...
Yep.
She didn't react to that at all, did she? She'd heard of it or anything? She'd heard any word of a missing...
She was surprised, but didn't know anything about it.
Right.
Like I say, her residence is here, I think, so she doesn't visit the town much, if at all.
All right.
So they are a separate entity, almost, the spa.
Off to the church for a...
Yes.
Okay.
Possibly fateful conversation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The priest's name is Jacob Cthulhu.
Oh, yeah.
Let's throw subtlety right out the fucking window.
Son of Cthulhu.
Hello, I'm Edgar Cthulhu. And please, Mr. Cthulhu was my father. You can call me... let's see here.
Master Cthulhu.
Exactly.
Right.
Just call me Junior, yeah.
So as you guys are walking back, anything you guys wish to discuss?
I don't think we got any new information here. I mean, really new information. It just confirmed what we already suspected, that there's something going on in this town, and it's not for very, very long, but it changed when the fishing got better, and so it like the town is somewhere going on with this cult who's running the town, maybe in right now, but
it seems to suggest the spa's probably not involved. Certainly not a hub, as we were wondering.
Yeah, because I thought for a moment it was that this was maybe where they were extracting money and all the rest of it, but it does seem to be legitimate from the colleague of Dr. Adam.
Right, and a decent location for the lobotomies that we were hat lobotomies that we were suspecting. As people settled in for their massages, but that apparently is probably not the case.
Let me ask you, the Illuminators.
Yeah. Yes.
Why do you think that might be the case?
Why? What might be the case? So,
why would you not take advantage of such a seemingly obvious, easy way to access people at their most vulnerable?
because those are all foreigners, and they are not. Those are from the city. They are wealthy, so they will come under scrutiny, and this will only mean trouble. So, just take advantage of the town, and I mean, I think they are not ready to go for Paridar right now. I mean, in the future maybe, but not yet.
So why are they up to what they're up to? I want to take over a small village. Why? Because they, you know, as you say, they're not interested in anything more ambitious.
I mean, if what we know is true, that basically there are those like those 7 prophets or something like these
the 7 sages of sorrow.
Yeah, the 7 sages of sorrow, which basically maybe the dark tide riders are fleeing the sea.
This is most certainly not their natural environment. Neither, I mean, the surface obviously, but even the cove. Sally knows the Dark Tide Riders they're so called because they come from the deepest abyssal depths of the ocean.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's something, and while we're at it, Sally, do you know by any chance why you left your own natural habitat?
Well, I got scooped up, if I remember. I got hauled on board the ship, so it wasn't entirely voluntary.
But I think you don't really remember, but maybe this is wrong. But
now that you stop and think about it, Sally, you're trying to remember, and like you remember getting scooped up, yeah, for sure, but like what were you doing there, and where did you come from, and why were you up there?
Indeed, but seems to be a bit of a problem for us all.
Yeah, that Darksprung's got very little recollection of his past.
I mean, so and imagine even now the sea devils. Why are they here? So what is going on in the sea?
I mean, I would think that the keep would not be an accidental site chosen. That's one possibility. It's location based. Certainly it is a pleasingly eerie location for those who want eerie locations, but surely it's not a touristy, it is not a villain touristy answer. I mean, I would think there would be some
villain tourism.
Right, like, you know, the villains
Balrog with a big kind of lei around the neck, you know, Mai Tai in hand.
Exactly. They want an eerie looking place, but surely there's more to it than that. That there's some value to the keep for them, for, you know, putting something so precious to them in its confines. That'd be my top reason for now. But other than that, perhaps it is, besides that, more coincidentally, perhaps it is out of the way, but still in the region of Paridar. So it's, you know, it's and access to the coast. I mean, the eggs are not underwater by accident, I would think. So you would need, I would imagine that was a very conscious choice. So they wanted water. They, you know, require water, perhaps. So shoreline, out of the way, but not a continent away. So location, those are my secondary. The keep first, and then secondarily, those coincidental overlapping reasons, overlapping choices.
Were you going to say something, James?
No, I was just nodding with agreement.
What do you guys recall about the iconography and the kind of story, as it were, that was on the church?
Wasn't it something like sea creatures coming and rising?
It was bad omens, wasn't it? Bad omens from the sea.
Yeah.
Some kind of allegiance to some other power.
Do you
Was it
recall?
almost worship?
Yeah. Do you recall there being anything in those illustrations with respect to things attached to the head?
No, not at all.
Not that I remember.
Yeah.
So does that suggest anything about the history of this place?
So we could imagine that those initial creatures were like the sea devils or so. Because it seems to be real sea creatures, like bigger sea creatures who could fight and so on. And maybe that means that this was some kind of ancient site where some marine god was worshipped or something like that. That might be that this keep was, before it was a keep, it was a temple or something like that. Might be not totally unreasonable.
It's curious now that you say that, having walked around where things are, the nature of the coastline is such that the amphitheater that's outside Scopia Holiday Lodge, you have to look at a map to confirm it, but it does seem to be facing in the direction of that keep, or at least the cove where the keep once stood.
Yeah. So if we could get an older map, or maybe could just some kind of confirmation, then we would maybe find out that this was not always like this small town, but it was more important a couple of 100 years ago or so, when the keep was still above the water. But who knows?
The church.
Maybe there is a church. Maybe there is also some local scribe outside the church. I don't know if this local town history is something that is done within the church or something that is done.
There'll be a degree of it in the church, but there's always going to be. I mean, the church will have like parish records because that's where they would keep that stuff. That would be of the more ecclesiastical nature.
Mm-hmm.
But there will also be likely records, like a town hall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Similar to that. Remember the place that you guys visited near? I can't remember the name of the lodge, but where you guys faced off against that. What's his name? Was it Thorngrove? Yeah, Augustus Thorngrove. Remember the manor? There was that small town you went to where you guys accessed the records. Yeah, same place. Mm-hmm. There will be a similar type of building in almost every small town around Paridar.
So we could go there also if we wanted to look that up before we talk to the priest, or we could just talk to the priest without that knowledge. But yeah. Whatever you guys feel.
I guess it's whether we want to talk to him and see if it's something that we can then fact find afterwards, if we ask those sort of questions, or whether we want to go with questions to ask from research.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be interesting to see if they want to give us the information as well at the town hall, I guess.
Oh well, we could get that information if we wanted to. I think that's not hidden, but I mean, it could be that whatever we talk to or about with the priest, that this could lead to violence. I mean.
I mean, yeah, for sure. It would be hard to imagine not bringing up, and finally having this conversation with the priest. Hard to imagine not bringing up things that could possibly trigger him.
Yeah.
You know, at the very least, maybe we mention tracks we found outside. You know, maybe we don't mention. We make a decision of whether to mention the creature's visit to his church, the issue with that is it would bring up the fact that we were in his church. So we mentioned that we find tracks outside
Do you know
the
that
church.
2 nights ago there were things that broke inside your church and were skulking around?
And we're outraged by
I
it.
took this amulet.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, took an amulet.
Or one that looked very much like this.
Yeah. We've recovered your amulet for you, by the way.
Yeah.
We found it in our pockets.
Right. But we could mention tracks outside the church that we found, something like this that would, not implicate us being inside the church. At the very least, we could mention the windows. Obviously, ask him in general about maybe the disposition of the people that could trigger him, all these kinds of things. The keep, we could bring it, depending on how far down the hole we want to go, the keep, the fog.
Is he newly appointed as well, this guy? He's fairly newly appointed, was he?
I don't remember. Is he newly appointed?
I don't know if you guys asked that one way or the other. Oh, the only thing you know is that he apparently has been presenting unconventional doctrine.
Yeah.
As part of his sermons and whatnot. And that's what they send. Like, it is not a small thing when they send an inquisitor out. You guys would be aware of this just as inhabitants of, inquisitive inhabitants of Paridar, that the Church of the Heavenly Host sends out inquisitors when, something is suspected to be quite wrong and might require a serious response. There was a time in the history of the Church of the Heavenly Host where they were more used as a political tool, but nowadays, in light, especially in light of the post-war kind of emergence of monsters and other threats and things like that, it is presented as it's the kind of thing that likely would have had you guys not been dealing with that heretic who had sworn himself to the Brimarak. Then it may very well have been the Inquisition who was involved or responded to him. Brother Loeb was his name.
And if we're going with the angle that we've been asked by the family to look into his disappearance, then it would be understandable that we would know and could ask and say, what he was inquiring about, which obviously directly involves the priest. Now that's going to be contentious, but maybe that's what we're after, to pardon us, Father, but he was looking into some apparently looking into some inexplicable type doctrine. Would you mind commenting on that? This kind of a contentious, but you're going to get a reaction. That's what we're, I think, possibly there for.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay. Then it sounds like you have a date with a church in 2 weeks' time. So
Indeed.
We are out of time for today. So then for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for part 5 of A Quiet Village by the Sea. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There's also a link down below in the description of this video to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where all of us are active, and we have channels there dedicated to this campaign. Most of the campaigns we run on the channel, as well as a ton of other great channels with some terrific people on them. You are more than welcome to join us over there. There's general DM discussion. There's advice on, there's just a really great community over there that wants to talk all things gaming, video games, and a bunch of other stuff too. So you're more than welcome to join us over there. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have a great selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. If they don't have something in stock that you are looking for, you can often put it on a want list, and then they will send you an email when it comes in. And if you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code SUMMERMUSER, all caps, all one word, and you'll save yourself 10% on your purchase. You will also find that if you're listening to this at a later time, that code will change around September 15th, 2023. So if you're listening after that time, come to one of our more recent videos and you'll find what the discount code is there. There's also a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages. That's a charity fundraising campaign we're running on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really amazing organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children, including ongoing relief efforts in Ukraine and the surrounding countries at the time of recording. And all donations that go through that link go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it comes to the channel or any other middleman. It just goes to help out the kids who benefit from their services. And as a small way of saying thank you, if you donated $10 or more since June 1st, 2023, head on over to the Charity Initiatives channel on the Dungeon Musings Discord server and cast your vote for the final 2 parts of our next session of our charity campaign. We have been playing a campaign all year, 6 parts, 4 parts done so far. Our next part is going to be a Viking tale of some sort. And we have voting going on for what types of characters and what game we're going to be playing. And we have the options up over there. If you donated $10 or more, head on over, cast that vote. You have until, I think, September 23rd, 2023 to cast a vote. And then we'll be running shortly. It was going to be for the end of the month, but I'm probably going to be out of town. So it'll be at the beginning of October where we'll play that session. In addition, if you donated $10 or more since that time, you'll also be able to vote on the final session. Final session will be coming near the end of the year, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next session, and looking forward to wrapping up our year of Ill Omens. The last thing I will say is a huge thank you to our stalwart illuminators for today. So Sean, James, Ingolf, and Darren, thank you so much for playing today, guys. We'll be back in the, well, actually won't be in the streets of Paridar. We will be back in 2 weeks' time on this lovely vacation time of Dag on the Sea. But until that time, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off of the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our stalwart illuminators are uncovering in this vacation town. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.